Okay. So the sales process once again. So a sales representative is a person who is selling products. So first,
Sir, excuse me.
yeah, go ahead.
Sir, can you make your whiteboard a little bit bigger? I think it's smaller than the previous classes.
You can zoom in. You can zoom in Zoom. You can zoom
I
in
think
your
it's
screen.
okay. I think it's okay.
Beside that, you can zoom in if you have.
I did not do anything specially for this one, so it is the same board I'm using.
Anupam, do
Yeah,
one thing.
it's the same.
You just click on the screen, double click on the screen. It will be zoomed in. Or you can
okay,
go to the Zoom and you just increase the percentage of this.
Okay, sir. No, sir. It
Let
has been
me do
zoomed.
one thing. I will switch to pen tool. I think that will be easier to read. But I cannot erase that. That's the problem. No, I will think. Okay. So sales. So what happens in sales is that a sales representative is a person who is selling the product. So he will go to a prospect. Prospect is called a lead, right? And he will try to convince him about the benefits of the product and so on. So if the prospect is interested, we call this a qualified lead, and we convert the lead to an account, a contact. This lead is copied to contact, and then you will create an opportunity, right? So there are three things. In opportunity, what happens? In opportunity, we have products, a joining of products and opportunity, right?
Opportunity product.
Opportunity products. So that means a mapping of the products. So what deal are we doing with this customer? And finally, the opportunity is closed. That is a cycle, right? For a sales cycle, it's closed. So a customer has now purchased your products. When a customer purchases your products, basically the opportunity product, that is the opportunity line items, also called as opportunity line items. Is the same thing. Opportunity products and opportunity line item are the same things. Okay. So opportunity line items, these are in products which is associated to this order, right? Or these products, the opportunity, right? So now that is going under act. This is copied under account into a object called asset. So that becomes a customer's products. So asset is a mapping between account and product. Just like opportunity line item is a mapping between opportunity and the product. Similarly, which customer has which products, that is stored in assets. That means this is a mapping object, right? And mapping object is one-to-many relationship, both sides. Same. Is it clear? So this is another default Salesforce object, which we know. Now, sales cycle is over. Customer has purchased products, and now you can see all the products under the customer assets, right? That this customer has these products. Now, the service process begins. What is service process? Service process means a customer who is coming back for the products you have already purchased, and he's complaining you, right? He has some problems. He probably needs help in installing it, probably needs help using it, probably needs help because it is not working properly, probably needs help because he does not understand it properly. There can be many reasons why a customer wants to contact you after the sales has been done. In order to satisfy your customer, it is very important that you provide a very high quality service. Not only sales, high quality service should also be there. If a service is sometimes is more crucial to win business and brand value, if you are not providing good service to your customers, what will happen is that the customer will not come back to you for a repeat sale, and the customer will defame you and he will try to tell wrong things and try to persuade other people not to purchase your products. So service is very crucial for the business, and that is why service is also a very crucial part in CRM, in customer relationship management. Not only I am storing the customer's information just because I want to resell him, I also want to provide good service to him. Yeah. So this is where the cycle starts. A customer may contact you just like you call Airtel or Vodafone, right? If you have a problem in your phone, what happens? A telecaller will answer you, right? And says, yes, sir, what is your problem? And you tell about your problem. He logs it and you see in your SMS, you get a ticket number, right? This is basically the same thing. In Salesforce, there is an object called case. Case is your ticketing system. So that tickets are also called cases in Salesforce. So tickets are logged, cases are logged in Salesforce, and cases can come from multiple channels. What? Customer may call you, customer can email you, customer can.
Are there cases IDs?
Which one?
Are there any cases IDs?
Yeah, of course. Case numbers you mean, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, of
yes.
course. Just like any ticket number, case will also have a number. Absolutely. So these are different ways a customer may contact you: through call, through email, through website. There can be other things like social media. So all these things are called channels, different channels of service.
Yes, Priyanka here. I have one question.
Yeah.
That sometimes we are delivering products, sometimes we are delivering service also.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So in case of there is is there any possible that we can track service of a service?
Yes, service. If you are delivering service, that also becomes your product. The product type may be service,
Okay.
but this is basically customer service for your products or services.
Okay.
This is basically complaint system.
Okay.
Customer
So then,
complaints. Yeah.
okay. So then it will be the problem statement that will be the service for me in case if it's a service.
That's correct. Everything will be either a problem or a information request. There can be many types of cases. One cases, of course, will be defects. One cases will be requests. One cases might be change of information. One cases might be activations. There can be many things, many reasons why a customer may call you after the sales is over. There can be installations also. There can be paid services also.
Replacement also.
Yeah, everything. So there can be many huge reasons. So just like every object has a record type, which differentiates between different kinds of records. In case also, you can create record types based on these kinds of different cases. That will help you capture different information that is necessary for these different kinds of cases. Layouts will be also different. Yeah. So,
Sir, I have one question. Sir, regarding any service-oriented problems, the record type will be created.
no, it depends on you. You may or may not create record type. Record type is why it needed. Record type is needed because if you want to change the screen based on different types of record, then you have to create a record type. Like, I will give an example. If there are,
Yes, sir.
yeah. So field 1, field 2, field 3, field 4. These 4 fields are required for in defect kinds of cases, right? Now, for request kind of cases, you need field 3, field 4, field 5, field 6. 3, 4, 5, 6. So 2 fields are common between these 2 things, but 2 new fields are required here. The F1, F2 are not relevant, right? If that is the situation, then what will, then you need different layouts, right? But different layouts is not a user specific layout. This is a record specific layout which you need. When you need a record specific layout, at that time you have to create a record type. So you have to create two record types. One is called defect, one is called service requests. On these two defects, you will create two different page layouts. One page layout with field 1, field 2, field 4, field 3, field 4. Another layout with 3, 4, 5, 6. That's it.
Okay, sir. Got
Okay.
the point.
Similar goal.
Yes.
Story. Okay. Now, if the agent is manually creating a case, then every record, just like in Salesforce, the record creator automatically becomes the owner, right? Automatically, he owns that. So simple, your service employee, now this will be service request agents, right? Or service agents. That is what we say. Like a telecaller is a service agent. This service agent, when they are answering a phone call, they can create a case on behalf of customer, search which customers this needs to belong, or ask some questions. Like whenever you call Vodafone, or they will ask you, sir, what is your date of birth? What is your name? What is your phone number? Please, what is your email ID, right? Verification they do. Why they do verification? To identify that you are the correct person. Then only they will give attention to you. Otherwise, maybe you are wasting their time, right? And time is very valuable because they don't want to waste their time on junk phone calls or people who are making fun of them, right? That is very crucial. So identification of your customer is very important. Second part is that understanding whether that customer is really having that product or not. Many times you will see that customer has complained, but he has not bought this from that company itself. Many times has happened. A customer has called Reliance and said that I have a fridge problem, and then they have identified that the customer has purchased a washing machine from Reliance, but fridge he has never purchased. So even if you have a customer, you need to understand whether that customer really has your product or not. Then only you will provide service, right? Otherwise you cannot provide service. If you do not have a fridge, what can you do with that? Then you have to say very politely to your customer, sir, either you have made a purchase which is not updated in our system. In that case, probably you have to send these details, invoice number, so that we can manually enter. Otherwise, you have not purchased the product. Please verify once again. And you go to the company from which you have purchased the product. Because that's not showing up in our system, right? So these things may happen. So it's very, very crucial that you have every information of customer at your fingertips. Otherwise, you will go crazy with many junk requests. And you have to sort that out very quickly. So now, when you are doing things manually, the service agent is manually working on it. The case creation automatically is assigned. Case is assigned to him, right? He is working on it. And maybe he can reassign to somebody else, then reassign to somebody else. And finally, it is assigned back to him, and then he updates the customer. It may so happen. The ownership keep on changing because there can be different people who are working on that case. Maybe the technical person of that company, maybe the accounting person of that company. Then basically, finally, it will come back to the agent, or may not be even coming back. Maybe this person is taking care of with the customer now. Yeah, the ownership may change. Another part is that, but the channels which are automatic, like email or web, here in web they will fill up a form. My name, my product, I select, I put my description. Contact us, you will find it every website, right? You go to any website, you will see always a contact us. So you might raise defects here also, right? You can also send a mail. There will be in contact us section, you can have a mail like this: support@vodafone.com, right? So you can mail to this, and they will also give you a ticket number. They will say that we have logged this ticket for you, and now it is assigned. Same in Wave also, they will say send you a ticket number, right? But this is automatic. This is happening. There is no person sitting behind the scene who is looking at this mail, and then they are punching it in the system. That might happen also. That is also possible. But Salesforce has made it automatic. So what can happen is that Salesforce has two features called email to case and web to case. These are out of box features which is available in Salesforce, which makes it that a case will be automatically created if somebody sends a mail to that email, or somebody punches something on this form in a web page. Automatically a new case will be created in Salesforce. This is out of box, no coding required for this, no programming required for this. So for these features, it is very important that the cases, whom will that case be assigned to? There is no person, right? Automatic case creation is happening. So who will be the owner of the case? So what happens is that there is different kinds of rules that you can set up. It's called assignment rules. Just like workflow rule, we have seen flows, we have seen process builders, we have seen that, those are automations. Similarly, assignment rule is an automation which is strictly taking care of case assignment. Okay. Now, when the case is assigned automatically to different people, there might be a message which customer wants to see, that my case has been assigned, because customer does not know, I have sent a mail, somebody is really working on it. Did I log it correctly? Somebody is paying attention or not? Because over the phone, you can immediately get a feedback. Sir, we will be working on this case. There is a person, and there is a person who is just assuring you over voice that we are working on it. But when you send an email, or when you send a form, you submit it, there is no guarantee that the customer will have a confidence that somebody will work on it. So what happens? You can send auto response rules. If you set auto response rules, automatically emails will go to customers. Again, this is another automation which is possible. So assignment rule is for assigning these automatic cases to different people. Auto response rule is to send email alerts to customers, or send emails to customers so that they have proper information that your case has been acknowledged, somebody is working on it. Similarly, because most of the time this will be B2B situation, wherein you have given a purchase to a different company, and there are problem. If that happens, this company, your customer who has purchased, that is the buyer, might have a huge loss of business possible. So what happens normally, the buyer will have a contract with the seller while the purchase is happening, and the buyer will say, I need resolution of my cases or problems in 3 days or 5 days or 2 days, depending on the priority of the cases. So case can be priority 1, priority 2, priority 3, priority 4, a number of priority you can set up, and based on these different priorities, I can have like 24 hours for priority 1 tickets, 2 days for priority 2 tickets, 5 days for priority 3 tickets, priority 4 maybe 1 month, 30 days. Yeah,
These are the SLAs, right?
these are called SLAs, service level agreements. That's correct. So based on these SLAs, so what happens is that if these SLAs are breached, if the seller side is not providing service on time or cannot fix this defect, the buyer can go to court and ask for compensation from the seller. Okay, so it is very important that these SLAs or these contracts are not breached. So in order that the seller is not getting entangled in these court cases, The seller side will ensure this using escalation rules. Escalation rule, what is escalation rule? Escalation rule means in the system automatically, I will change the ownership after a period of time from one person to another person. Maybe after 4 hours, if the case is not resolved, automatically it will be assigned to his manager. If the manager cannot solve, automatically assign this to
According
higher
to
boss.
the level of difficulty.
Sorry, please come again.
Sir, I'm telling that according to the level of difficulty of the resolution.
Difficulty maybe some higher bosses are required for approvals, maybe some more power is required. Yeah, it can be different situations, maybe
Yes, sir,
because
it
of
might-
difficulty, maybe
yes, sir, might-
maybe authorizations is required, maybe change in some system required which is closely guarded, maybe some special provision has to be made for customer which will take time, right? There can be different situations. So in order these SLAs are not breached, the buyer side will ensure that I have proper automatic situations wherein this case is automatically assigned to the higher boss. Again, automatically assigned to higher boss, so that these people are more powerful and they can take adequate steps so that the SLAs are not breached. Clear? So escalation rule is another automation which can come in case. So what did we learn so far? Before we go to Salesforce, we want to again understand one thing. There are 3 automations we discussed: assignment rule, auto response rule, and what? Escalation rule. These are very critical for case module. Another important part which you have to learn about is public group and queues. Public group and queue both are collection of users. Okay. Public group is used for sharing. We use that, right? We saw that sharing rule when we created. You can share to a public group any record. Queues are used to put ownership to a group of people. For case particularly, it is very important because when a case is auto assigned, probably who is available or to work on that case is not known. So it is assigned to a group of people. Anybody who is free at that time, he will take it up. He will become the automatic owner. But for that time being, till somebody is working on it, it will be assigned to a group of people. Then that group of people is called queue. In Salesforce, public group and queues are different things, but same. It's a collection of users. But queues can own a record. Public group cannot own a record. Clear? Case allows queues to own cases. Case object. Okay. So now another thing we will discuss is that there are some advanced concepts which we will not discuss right now, but this is just for your knowledge. These SLAs can be further broken down into more complicated things. Like a customer has purchased a opportunity, right? The opportunity is a collection of products, right? Product 1, product 2, product 3. It might so happen is that the customer has service agreement for product 1, but not for product 2. It can go to that complication level. So if these situations come in, and there can be different combinations of service request, which is not directly, if you want to have different service level agreements with customers, different complexities, in that case, you have to enable entitlement. There are 3 types of entitlement. We will not discuss this in details today because this is all details of Service Cloud certification. For normal admin, we will stop at that, but you understand where things can go and how complicated it can go. So there is a certification called Service Cloud Consultant. Similarly, there is a certificate called Sales Cloud Consultant. These certification would allow you to use advanced features of Salesforce. Okay, you are just admin, but the journey has begun. I will stop it at there. Now we will go and discuss about Salesforce. By the way, are you understanding so far? Any confusion? Any questions so far?
No, sir.
Okay, good. So just like we had sales app, which was taking care of the sales business, wherein we had opportunity leads, account contacts, all these things. Similarly, there is also a service app. And here you will first time be introduced with cases. Report dashboards similarly. Account is also needed, account and contact, because this is crucial to customer information is always required if you are working with customers. So it works the same way, this app, only that instead of opportunity, now we have a case object. Similar. You can have a generic case. You see, case origin can be like phone, email, web. You can add more if you want. So status would be new by default. It can be working, escalated. You can have closed cases also, so that you can stop the case after the work is over. So if you go to any case or create a new case, maybe a agent is working on it. So a customer calls, so he will ask, give me your, like probably this guy has called for the first time. Yeah, I will get as much details as possible. And then basically I will say that this guy called me up. And what is the case reason? Maybe this kind of like a installation request. Maybe he needs to installation or mechanical or anything structural changes. And then you say installation is required at his home, right? I can send a notification to the contact that your case has been created. That is sending the ticket. Instantly you see a case number is created, right? Just like any other activities, just like you can have open activities and other things, you can work on this similar case. But normally what happens is that the service agents are very tied up and they need all at one place so that they can see everything. They cannot hop in from this tab to that tab, and so they have very little time to do that. So what they request is that usually we go to console. There's a service console. So sales console is there, but it's rarely used. Service console is mostly needed. So this is a different view of Salesforce. Here there is not tabular view. The tab is there, but tab is different. Here the tabs are here. Tabs are in this format. So what happens is that here you get to work on everything at one place. So you can create a new case. Similarly, I will search like maybe same contact called again. You see how fast is this one. And this time the priority is high. Installation is not proper. Okay, maybe after the installation is done, then still he has some problem. He again calls you, right? Now you see this is the console view. So you can minimize this and you see one screen which has every information. So this is the case highlights. This is basically the detail of the case. Here you can work on it. You can attach files here. Activity history you can see. This is the milestone and this entitlement. This we are talking here. This forget it for now. This is the contact details. So everything you are working here. Maybe you forgot his email. Immediately you can say that I will note down his email ID and his phone number. Yeah, one place. And this guy maybe already called this. This is the second call, right? So I can see the other cases of the same person. You see. So whenever you go, this person calls and this ticket is created, I immediately know that this guy already has raised request on this date and the installation has happened. And now he's again calling me for another case that installation is not proper. So I have all the history together in one sheet. And maybe I am having two calls at one time. So one may happen that I have put his call on hold. I want to work on another ticket. So I will go here and maybe I create another case with a different customer. Maybe another person is online. So I am working on two different people. Possible. He's saying that network issues. This person has a different issue. His origin is again a phone. Now you see, I am working on two different cases. So fast, right? So this is called a service console app, which is very different to how Salesforce works. So here you can work on multiple cases at one time, and all the information which is needed is absolutely ready in one screen so that you can very quickly serve your customers. So this is optimized for fast work. So there are two flavors of service app. Yeah, one is service, another is service console. Console is most frequently used because this will give all the information that is needed for providing information to customers, because they want to minimize their time, right, to serve customers. I cannot hop in tab changes from contact to customer so many. It will be too much waste. I have to work on multiple cases, have all information at one screen. That is how it works. Okay, this is how a sales service person will work. Now we'll see different. So I will talk about two things. One is email to case. Here. We'll not set it up. It takes a lot of time. Very complicated stuff. So email to case means you have created a email ID, and that is a Salesforce. You will also create an automatic email ID that you will connect to. Like you have a support@yourcompany.com, and in Salesforce will auto generate an email ID. These two email ID you will connect to each other. So when customer is basically sending a mail to this email ID, immediately Salesforce will this is the enablement. You will do an edit and enable it. And email to case are two types. One is normal email to case, another email to on demand. Where email on demand email to case. To create a cases from Outlook, select options email to case as well as email on demand service. This one. Okay, so you can connect to Outlook, and basically when somebody sends a mail to Outlook email ID, immediately a case will be created automatically in Salesforce. It is very important one thing to understand. On-demand email to case means server to server. Email to case normal is basically email agent installation is required, and so many things are required. So that is a problem. Now let us go to web to case. Web to case is a similar thing. Web to case is creating a form. This is the web to case HTML generator. So probably these are the fields, or you need case reason also with this field. This is the website which you have already in your like www.mycompany.com. On this website, you will say you will say I would need reCAPTCHA. Anybody has an idea what is reCAPTCHA?
A captcha is to verify whether a person is a person or a robot.
That's correct. Exactly, that is the same thing. So it will be a global form, right? Normal fillable form. And people can write virus programming wherein that form can be filled up and submitted again and again. In order that not to happen, this reCAPTCHA form ensures that it is a human being who is submitting that form. So this reCAPTCHA will be an image. You say how many cars are there in this picture, or is upside or downside. These are some logical questions which they ask in order to identify that is not system, it's a human being. Yeah. So that this is added on top of your form. And if you see generate reCAPTCHA KPI, I will just take it out for now. So this is a HTML page which is already created by them. And you see this is a form. So you have to copy paste this and send it to the email administrator, sorry, website administrator, the person who is like owning the www.mycompany.com. You will send this form to him. He will paste it in his pages, and whenever customer is now entering information, automatically it will create a case in Salesforce. Very easy. No coding. Yeah. Now the very important part is that in the service setup, where it is, I'm not able to see that. Anyway, so in service setup, all these assignments are now in email to case and web to case will create automatic roles. So who will be the owner of those cases automatically, right? So what we have to do is that we have to create assignment rules. It's quite easy. You say when you create new rule, these are steps, and in any step, if you can assign, that rule stops for that case. So it is a sort order. I will say 1, and I will assign this to which user? Maybe this is the one user, and I will say, and what is the criteria? You will say if it is a case, what is that? case origin, right? Yeah. If the case origin equals to email, I will assign this to this user ideally, or you can also assign it to queue, as we talked about it. Queue means a collection of people. Okay, that you can do, and you can hit save. Let me put a user first. So now you see sort order 1. So you can keep on adding more steps. So in any steps, when the assignment is done, first the case this assignment rule stops. There is no need for further the next other steps. So they are step by step. You can check one by one and you keep on assigning to different people. This will run automatically for any email to case or web to case based on whatever criteria you set. Clear? Similarly, there is auto response rule. Here is the same story, same step by step game. You say case origin is equal to email, and you specify the name and address whom you want to include in auto response message. This is a sender email ID, because I am sending from on behalf of, I will say that support Vodafone. If I am Vodafone, email address will be support@vodafone.com. And I have to put a email template. Email template we discussed. Did we talk about email templates till now? In the workflow, we have talked about email template, right?
Yes.
Same. You have to select an email template and then you save it. Let's use any of the email template. Maybe. Yeah. This email ID does not exist, so that's why it is not able to create it. So this is the rule entry again. You have to create, and you have to add that email IDs into the organization wide settings. Email IDs. Just showing up here, right? Organization wide email addresses. Yeah, here you have to add these special addresses, user selectable. If you want to able users to use it, so you can add all these email IDs, which are your email IDs. That is from, if you want to send email from these email IDs, you can add this here. Okay. Similarly, escalation rules. Same process. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Same. You say this is the thing, and you say that this is 4 hours has passed, assigned to somebody else, assigned to somebody else, like that. Keep on assigning that to different people. Here I need to discuss the concept of queue. Here is the queue. If you create a queue, you say my case queue. You can now select which object this queue can be used for, which objects. There are custom objects only and case object standard, some objects only, which you can use for queues. So I select only queues. Queue members can be users, can be roles, can be public groups. Same. So I will add maybe these 2 users and save it. So when I basically go to a case, I can change owner. I can also select queues. And I say that, what is the name? My. What case? What is the name? Will I activate it? So this can even, now we will assign this to a queue also. I think after, you can change this to queues. Or now you're not getting it. Right. Yeah, I guess. So now I have assigned this to a queue. It's not as individual person. You see? Case owner is my case. You see? This is a now a queue, a group of people. Anybody who is part of that group can now become a member. He can assign it to himself. So this is the way queue works. And we also discussed the escalation rules. And we also discussed how you can do it. Case object is just like any other objects. In case you can do a little more things. In case you can set this case, this one, close case layout. This is not by default activated. What you can do, you can go to a case layout. Here in buttons, you can have this close case button. Oh, so here, before doing that, I have to activate the close option. So if you go to status, here is this close button, right? You see, this is there, and this has to be added on. In case you have to understand that for case processes, different processes in place, you have to you can create support processes. If you want a different support process for different kind of cases, and the statuses will be different, in that case you have to go and create support processes. Just like sales processes was there, same here there would be a support process. Give me 1 second. Support setting. Before doing that, this is a default case owner. This is very important. What is this means? This means after assignment rules has worked, right? If there are still situation in which I am not able to assign that case, in that case, this will be a default case owner. This will be assigned to that case. That case will be assigned to this person. Please note, if any user is a default case owner, that user cannot be deactivated. This is a straightforward certification question. Okay. Rest, I think, is all fine. Yeah. you can select case close template. Default case owner can be queues also. So if you go and create a support process, by default is master, just like record type. Similarly, you say this is like for installation. In that case, you see there are 4 selected values are there, and you can say that this kind of they will never get escalated. So I will have only one installation process. Yeah. So what happens is that when I go and create a record type, so I have the default support process. Now I have to create my record type. Support process is not required to be created if you are not wanting to bifurcate status. If you want to bifurcate status, make 2 different status fields, then only it is needed. Otherwise, not. I will say installation. And I have to give which support process this belongs to, right? The support process is needed for creating this record type. Whenever you have created this, now it understands which status needs to be chosen. So let's see. Let's create a support layout. Right? Let me go to any of the pick list and like you say, installation request can only be taken from phone. Yeah. And I will create another support process. Which is called defects. Here maybe escalation is required. Maybe it starts from new status. It starts from working status. New is not required. Yeah. Then I will go to there and I will select record type. Sorry. Case. What is record type? This one, defects, right? And which I do defects. It's a new one. I select. I have to make it active. Make available. Next. Maybe the normal process layout. And here in case origin, maybe I have these 2. Yeah. I will go to record. So I have created 2 record types. Both are active. I don't know if I made an assignment or not. Let me check that. Make sure that you are assigning this record type correctly to users. If you go to object and go to case, in case, go to record type. Here you can see page layout assignment. So these 2 record type, this defect and installation has 2 different record types for all the users, all types of users. Now, what I have to check whether my user has both record types or not. I will go to user. Sorry, I will go to My user is system administrator. So I will go to profile. Here I will go to system administrator. Here I will go to, sorry, not me. Here there is a record type. Is page layout. Here we will have record type settings. In case, you see there are two defaults, defect and installation, both are there. Default is installation. I can change this. I can make another the default. If I assign multiple record types to any user or profile, what happens now? See, now it is asking me which kind of record you want to create. Right. If I select installation, what will happen? You see the status will be new and working. And product, or what was the origin? Only phone, nothing else. If I go back and I select defect, the layouts will be working and escalated. And the case origin is phone and email. Similarly, I can take out these fields because this layout is different, right? So I can take out these fields. These two fields are not needed maybe for defects kinds of cases. Is for installation cases, maybe some other fields are required that you can add. Any questions so far?
No, sir.
All clear, guys? I think that should be all from our side today. That is all the tip of the iceberg for the service part. A lot of information going towards you. So please practice at home, otherwise you'll forget it. Okay, if there are no further questions, then we'll stop for the day. I will upload this on YouTube. Please feel free to like practice. Things are getting complicated, and we have just a few sessions left, so we are almost losing it.
Animesh, you can make me host because we have another session at 4.
Yeah.